Okay, so I've just arrived in Athens for a few days stopover on my way from Manchester to Santorini. The Athens airport is connected to the metro, which takes you into the city centre and then a few minutes walk through Syntagma Square to the Plaka Hotel. You can then walk to all major tourist sites from the hotel easily. The rooftop terrace and bar was my favourite place to relax in an evening, with fabulous views of the Acropolis. Because of its proximity to the Acropolis, Plaka is very popular with tourists and foreign visitors as a place to stay. Its pedestrian zones make it an enjoyable place to escape from the city's notorious traffic. The flea market, especially on Sundays, is popular, as is Monastiraki Square and metro station. The building on the left is the restored Turkish mosque, now the Ceramics Museum. Right next door are the large columns and ruins of the Roman Emperor Hadrian's library and the Roman Agora. If you are planning on walking to the Acropolis, set off early, as in my opinion this is the most rewarding section to explore on the way up to the top itself. There is a fee to explore the Acropolis. On the way up to the top is the Amphitheater, now called the Odeon of Herod Atticus. Herod was a great patron of the arts and lived from 101 to 177 AD. The theatre has been reconstructed and is used for plays and other events on a regular basis. Further up to the top through the Beulah Gate you get closer to the first set of columns, and then the sheer magnitude of the place begins to impress you. The Parthenon dominates everything on the Acropolis, and you can't help admiring the achievement of the Athenians who built this enormous structure. Originally built as a temple dedicated to the goddess Athena, it was the centrepiece of an ambitious building programme on the Acropolis of Athens, and built nearly 2,500 years ago. Close to the Parthenon is the Erechtheion, which was built in about 420 BC, and built next to an old temple which it was designed to replace. The first king of Athens, according to legend, has his tomb underneath the caryatid porch, supported by 6 statues of maidens instead of the usual columns. These are copies of the originals, which are in the museum, although one is still in the British Museum. When the city was under siege by the Venetians in 1687, the Parthenon itself was used as a gunpowder store. A huge explosion blew the roof off and destroyed a large portion of the remaining sculptures. The building has been a ruin ever since. Between 1801 and 1805, Lord Elgin, the British ambassador to the Ottoman Empire, acting with the full knowledge and permission, removed about half of the remaining marble sculptures from the fallen ruins and transported them to Britain. The Elgin marbles, as they became known, have been on display since 1817 in the British Museum in London. On the way back down from the Acropolis, we get to see once more the Odeon of Herod Atticus from a different angle. Within a short walk from the Plaka Hotel and the Acropolis, through Syntagma Square, is the Parliament buildings. The Greek Parliament is housed in this imposing building. It was erected between 1836 and 1842 as a royal palace, but the Parliament has resided here since 1935. In front of the Parliament building is the tomb of the unknown soldier, which is guarded by an elite presidential guard in traditional attire. The large relief and the excerpts from Pericles' funeral oration inscribed on the wall on either side of the tomb was inaugurated on March 25, 1932, on the Greek Day of Independence. The traditional attire worn by soldiers is known as the fustanella, which was worn by the Greek revolutionaries who fought the independence war against the Turkish between 1821 and 1830. The change of the guards on the hour looks more like a slow dance. This street runs from Syntagma Square to Plaka Square. This pedestrianised street is claimed to be the most important shopping street in Athens and only a few minutes' walk from the Plaka Hotel. The Plaka Hotel can just be seen here on the left hand side, as you can see it's just below the Parthenon. The H&M shop is so busy it has doormen discreetly placed to control the number of people allowed in at any one time. Just at the top of the street, just to the right of the Parliament buildings, is the National Gardens. It was opened in 1920 and the entrance moved to the 12 palms planted by Queen Amelia of Greece. The National Garden, formerly the Royal Garden, is a public park of 38 acres created in 1838 and it's just skirting the Olympic Stadium of the 1896 Olympic Games. Athens is so well laid out that this quiet oasis is just minutes from the major road network that runs through the city. Queen Amelia commissioned the gardens in 1838 and imported over 500 species of plants and a variety of animals. Today there is a duck pond, a botanical museum, small cafe and children's facilities. To be perfectly honest, there's not a lot to see in the garden, more of a place to relax and shelter from the sun. Most of the paths are in the shade due to the high mature trees and lots of benches and places to sit. It's also nice to see the greenery and breathe in the fresher air away from the noise and bustle of the crowds. I bought some Greek pasties from a small kiosk shop before entering the park and just enjoyed them sitting on a bench. The green parrots, at least that's what I think they are, seem to fly freely in the park only, as I didn't see them outside the park. This must be their domain. It's certainly quiet in here, no tourists, and a much slower pace of life. Back out of the park the way I came in, and I'm back in Syntagma Square, opposite the Grand Britannia Hotel, and a square with a long-lasting history of demonstrations of some sort. In the background there's one on today, with the people feeding the pigeons blissfully unaware. The main metro station of Syntagma Square is just underground behind the steps, and when excavating for air ducts, some relics of the past will be found by the roadside on the way to the temple of Zeus. Though only a few columns remain, it does not take much imagination to realise the enormity of the building. Originally there were 104 Corinthian columns, of which only 15 remained standing. Hadrian had erected a giant gold and ivory statue of Zeus inside the temple, which was probably destroyed by an earthquake. Nearby is the Arch of Hadrian, which was erected in 132 AD as a gate between the ancient city and the Roman city of Athens.